Hey guys, here with another weekly draft video here on the Need to Hone Magic channel. This time around, I'm doing another stipulation draft because we're sort of at the lag time between Oath of the Gatewatch and being online and being out in real life. So, and I've drafted this a bunch of times, many of which I've recorded. You can see the more serious ones, in previous weeks if you want to. But the stipulation for this draft is going to be that I have to take. Green is considered the worst card in the format, basically. So I have to take a green card if there's one in every pack, is my plan here. Unfortunately, we didn't open a green rare. We opened Hero of Gomafada. Which is what I would probably take here, although Eldrazi Sky Spawner is also quite good. But it's either Grove Rumbler or Snapping Gnarlid here. And I think I'm going to go with the Gnarlid because it doesn't lock me into multiple colors as quickly, even though the Rumbler is pretty good. All right, so in our green cards here, we've got Brood Hunter Worm and Oran Reef Invoker. I think I like the Invoker a little more. It gets big late, and it can be like a big threat late, just like the red Invoker can. And the Brood Hunter Worm's fine, and I'm sure we'll end up with plenty of them, but it's kind of meh, so with the Invoker we go. So it'll be interesting to see how we do with a deck that could end up being completely mono-green, because we're going to take a green card out of every pack if there is one. If there's not one, I'll make some sort of decision. But I bet most packs, mini packs anyway, are going to have at least one green card because it's not a very heavily drafted color. So yeah. So we've got two 2-drops so far. Feels like I'm drafting Magic Origins. Okay, we got Blister Pod and Plummet here. Plummet is a good sideboard card, but Blister Pod will probably make my main deck. I mean, if I'm in green, I'm probably going to end up with some high curve stuff, theoretically. And Blister Pod's a fine card, so that's what I'll take. If I were actually seriously drafting, it'd probably be Shadow Glider here, assuming I wasn't in green already. But we will take the Blister Pod. We're making our picks very quickly because we don't have much thinking to do, so. But, yeah. Maybe green will dry up. It'd be pretty bad if someone else was trying to draft green at this table. It'd be bad for us. All right, well, that's the kind of green card you do want to get. Bad news is, if we have to take green in every pack, we're not going to actually get that many allies, but eventually we'll run out of green, maybe. It's probably, it and Brood Monitor are both very strong. If we end up with both of them, then we're thrilled. The Balast's fine, too. Tajuru Warcaller is actually the strongest card left in this pack, I would say. It's just that green is so underpowered that it could probably make it a few more seats over before somebody took it, because there's plenty of serviceable cards here like Valakut Predator. But yeah, we take the Warcaller. We're living the mono-green dream so far. So we have Tajuru Stalwart 2 in green, but that's going to be pretty bad if we don't end up with some fixing and stuff like that. We don't want to play a 3-mana 1/2, which is entirely possible that happens, just because it causes Rally to happen. The Warcaller only making Rally happen once can be good, especially if we pick up some Eyeless Watchers and stuff like that. Call the Scions isn't bad either. I like it more than Infuse with the Elements, especially given our mana situation that we're probably going to be one color, splash a second, or just monocolored. I think we just take Call the Scions here. It goes well with our Warcaller. It can help us ramp. It's not a bad card. It's not one I play very often either, but it's what I'm going to take here. Stone Fury is good. So is Court Castigator. And Merc Strider is if you've got some process going. But we will take Call the Scions. I didn't have time to say because this draft kicked off so quickly, but this will be the last stipulation, the last draft I do of this format at all, actually. I think we take another ally here over the serviceable Marasa Ranger Giant Mantis, because after this I'll start doing Oath of the Gatewatch drafts. Next week will be the first Oath of the Gatewatch draft on this channel, and it will also be the one where if you have a chance to enter to win what I draft and what I win, so look on my channel for the video announcing that. I may add an annotation to this video if I remember to, in which case you won't have to look at all. All right, so we'll take a Call to Scions again. It's the only green card left, so it's what we'll take. So we can ramp into some big Eldrazi if we run out of green cards. And so far, we've kind of got a plan to go wide and drop a Warcaller or a Beastmaster and just crack into our opponent, which is a winning strategy, I think. Okay, here we take our Mantis. I wish I could take a spawning bed, but I set this stipulation pretty strictly, and I'm going to end up taking some reclaiming vines, I'm sure, in the near future. So, but yeah, we'll take a giant mantis here. May make our main deck. It usually doesn't. It's a very good sideboard card against Blue White Skies deck, but given our situation. But on the whole, we're doing green's pretty open because we've taken only green cards and we've ended up with I'd say eight playables. I mean, Call the Scions is kind of, borderline. And Giant Mantis probably is too, but nothing that I'm like, man, I'm not playing that, like Reclaiming Vines if we were to get one of those, I feel like we're going to pick some of those up at some point here. We just narrowly avoided picking one up there. Oh, right. Well, Grove Rumbler made it back to us. So, yeah, green-red seems like a real possibility. He's very good, but again, he's sort of floating around still because green's just not very strong. We may pick up several gold-green cards, in which case, I mean, the problem is with the stipulation I said I can't pick up Evolving Wilds or Fixing, but there is Lifespring Druid in green, so if I can pick up a couple of those, then running a few gold cards is certainly possible. Fertile Thicket would help too. I don't know if I should count that as a green card. It's technically colorless, but it does produce green mana. But I don't think I'll count it, since it is technically colorless. Same with the Blighted Greenland. I don't know. Maybe I should count those as green, technically. I mean, they're only going in a green deck. So that seems pretty reasonable. I may make up my mind later. All right, well, I don't mind taking a late Brood Hunter Worm. Another Spawning Bed's kind of nuts. They are quite good. And a good plummet for the sideboard. The one problem with being green is we're probably not going to pick up very much removal, so we may even want a main board plummet because at least it can deal with big flyers. So we did pick up a Swell of Growth, which is a combat trick. And if you have no removal, that can be okay. We'll take Sure Strike because we're in red, and it's another combat trick, which we don't mind. So, almost mono green. And a Marasa Ranger, also perfectly playable, but certainly not exciting or especially good even. We do kind of have a landfall theme. We have 3 cards with it so far, so maybe I should count Blighted Woodland since it's pretty good when you have a lot of landfall stuff going on. Yeah, at this point I probably wouldn't play Plummet main board. I think it'll probably get spun a lot, though. We opened a red bomb. Well, it looks like we're probably taking Plated Crusher here, which our deck should have no problem playing, so that's good. I mean, what are the chances I wheel a Crusher? They're actually pretty good since the triple green's there. I may actually take Eyeless Watcher instead because it's less likely to wheel because it's not triple green. But yeah, Serpentine Spike's a bomb. If you haven't had the chance to play it or against it, just so you know, it's definitely a bomb. If you see it in Oath of the Gatewatch draft and you happen to be in red, then you should probably be taking it out of your pack. There's hard to imagine very many cards better than it, but there are a few. But yeah, we'll take the Watcher here over the Crusher and the Fertile Thicket, which I still haven't made a decision about. I may kind of cheat, and when there's a pack that has, well, Beast Caller Savant can help us fix, and it's an ally, so that I'm pretty happy to get. Grove Tender Druids, I wouldn't mind. Tajuru Stalwart, we don't really want. Chances are we're going to end up with one of them eventually, but another ally who can help us fix for red or white if we pick that up, as well as having Rally trigger for those two guys seems pretty good. Okay, Evolving Wilds would be nice, but we have to take a Gnarlid or an Invoker. Which do I like more here? We have one of each already. If I weren't picking those, it'd obviously be Sky Spawner here. If I hadn't committed to 2 other colors by a lot. I mean, if I had these cards already, I would still take Sky Spawner here since green's clearly what I'm playing, but the other colors aren't so clear. But Invoker or the Gnarlid. Gnarlid, more guaranteed to get bigger more frequently early, and I guess that makes it a little better. I think it is what I'll take here. I do like the Invoker, but I think the Gnarlid is a little better. Okay, well, we're drying out on green cards already. I wouldn't mind taking a Breaker of Armies. Seems like we might be able to ramp into that, but we have to take a Plummet here. Touch of the Void's probably the best card left in this pack. But yeah, we'll take another Plummet. Okay. I'm going to count Blighted Woodland, I decided. This is a pretty intense stipulation, and Blighted Woodland is a pretty good card. I'd rather have it than Natural Connection, that's for sure. Although, Is my deck good with unnatural aggression? Do I have enough creatures who can fight effectively? I mean, I do need removal. I don't have that many, but Giant Mantis isn't a bad one. Broodhunter Worm's not either. And obviously neither is to Drew Beastmaster. I mean, I think I'm going to want to fix for red a little more than I'm going to want like a mediocre removal spell. I think I'll take that. Well, here we can technically take Bring to Light, but our deck probably isn't going to support that, so we're going to take another Broodhunter Worm who may make our deck. If we end up with several of them, unnatural aggression does get a little bit better, but it's still, the creatures that are the best for it are like your 4/5s, 3/5s, things that will survive in a fight. And Broodhunter Worm will die in a lot of fights, just ending up two for winning myself. Okay, well, there's no green card here, but there is a Desolation Twin. We don't have a huge amount of ramp, but we have some, and I think we're just sort of having fun with this draft, so I think making Desolation Twin work in our deck sounds like fun. So I think that's what I take. Okay, here it's either Natural Connection, Swell of Growth, or Rot Shambler. I think we have enough Scions, and we're probably going to pick up more for Rot Shambler to be solid. So I think that's what I'll take here over the Swell of Growth or the Natural Connection. It's kind of cool how they made a lot of the Eldrazi. I guess all of them, even these, all the colorless cards, the art still bleeds into the text box, which is cool. So you can probably go over here. Sure Strike, it's fine, but if I don't have to splash red for anything but a Grove Rumbler, I think I'm a little happier. The Blighted Woodland's also very good with our creatures with landfall. I'm not a huge Marasa Ranger fan either. I'd rather have Broodhunter Worm like 90% of the time, so I think this is where we sit for now. If we get back that Grove Tender Druid, that'd be pretty good. It gives us another ally for our Warcaller and Beastmaster rally triggers, and it's not a bad one. I mean, it's not going to trigger a whole lot, but it does help us go wide, which our deck already looks like it would like to do. So, but yeah, Desolation Twin, pretty sweet. I haven't ever actually put one in a draft deck, which means I've also never managed to cast one. Okay, well, we can take Fertile Thicket here. We have our choice of any card, and I think I would pick Fertile Thicket no matter what over the other stuff we have going on here. The Devastator's fine, but I think one big ramp target's probably enough, so I'll take a Thicket. Okay, well, there's some good blue cards left. I could take the Warpaint because it looks like we're going to be in red. But, we may open up something that makes us want to be in blue more. I see that unlikely. The blue-green, rare, and uncommon aren't especially good in our deck. So I think I will take the Warpaint. It's at least an okay sideboard card. Okay, same for Hedron Blade. And I guess I'll take a Blighted Gorge here. It may make it into our deck. And we have to take a Natural Connection. Probably not going to make it into our deck. And I'll take a Forest. So we're doing, green is pretty open. I don't have that many cards that I just hate in my deck. I don't really have any, actually. We have some in the sideboard that I don't love, but, Broodhunter Worm is kind of meh in this format, but he's still fine. And, we've definitely got some nice early 2-drop aggression. We have a little bit of ramp going on. Dragon Master Outcast. Why are there green cards in this pack? If there weren't, I would be all about that Dragon Master Outcast. Yeah, and the green cards in this pack are really unexciting too. Infuse the Elements gets a little better when we have a Beast Caller Savant in our deck, but not enough. So it's either Broodhunter Worm or Earthen Arms. Earthen Arms kind of gives us another top curve thing, and I think we can support a top curve kind of thing, especially because our mana's pretty consistent. And I think that's actually better than for our deck than Broodhunter Worm is at this point. So I think I'm going to take it. Let's just let it go to 2, even though ideally you play it at 7. But yeah, people are going to be pretty happy that I passed that Dragon Master Outcast, if that's what it's called. Now that I say it, it sounds strange, but that one red mana dude who turns out dragons like mad, that guy. But yeah. That is not what we're taking. Oh, another red bomb, of course. We have another Beastmaster here, which I think we like more than the Retreat to Kazandu, which is fine, but I think I like another Beastmaster a little more. I think he's kind of an underrated card in this format, and he may not be underrated. It may be kind of like Warcaller, where he's green and people are like, no thanks. But right now, I mean, our deck does have, 4 allies? That's, not awful, especially when you're mono green. We managed to get a rare ally in green, so that helped us out. And we got our Grove Rumbler, got some landfall stuff going on, which I don't mind either. But yeah, I mean, if our deck can go, curve out the way it wants to, play like a turn 2 Invoker, turn 3 Call the Scions, into Brood Hunter Worm. So should I consider Canopy Vista green? It would help me with if I wanted to splash white, and if I get any more cards that have Converge. There's also another Blister Pod, though, which I think is fine. And I don't see myself ending up in white being very likely. So I think I'm going to take the Blister Pod. I mean, I guess the white-green rare would be pretty sweet if we got it, but I might try to cram it into the deck anyway. So, but yeah, I'll take a Blister Pod over the Vista here. All right, so we have this decision again, and this time I think I'm going to go for an Invoker. They have sort of different effects. The Invoker's a better late-game top deck, and the Gnarlid's a better early-game play. So I think having half and half isn't bad, so we're going to go for it there. It's going to be kind of hard to trim this deck just because we have so many weird cards. I mean, our Brood Hunter Worms may actually be out of it. We do have 3 lands. So we're actually at 18 cards. So we need, 4 more playables is all we really need. Some more Eyeless Watchers and, Brood Monitor would be nice too if we managed to get one of those. Okay, well, a Natural Aggression it is here, and it is a removal spell. It's not one I love, but, it's just kind of a crappy pack in general. I mean, the McKindy Patrol, Sharpshooter, Grave Birthing, Akum, Stonewaker, and Scour from Existence are all playable, but nothing you're like, I'm so glad I picked one of those up, really, Line Hedron Network is an okay sideboard card too, but we'll take an Unnatural Aggression. We're pretty low on removal, so it'll probably make our deck. So yeah, I mean, at this point, we can probably get away with running 3 red sources and still have pretty good mana. Between our Blighted Woodland, Fertile Thicket, and our Beastcaller Savant. So, Unnatural Aggression's pretty bad with Scions. It's really only going to be good, especially now that we took out Brood Hunter Worms. So, may end up running 1 just because they're better. There's another Unnatural Aggression, but Jaughty Offshoot's a pretty sweet sideboard card against really aggressive decks, and I think I like the upside it has more than what Unnatural Aggression's going to do for me. So, that's what I'll take. Jaughty Offshoot, I would never main board. I see people do it, but against really aggressive ally decks, it's pretty great because it can slow down their early attacks, and it gains you life, obviously. So, okay, well, Catacomb Sifter is interesting. The way our mana is, I think we can probably shove it into our deck and be pretty happy with it. It is green, and I like it more than either of the other 2 green cards. It's definitely the strongest. It's probably the strongest card left in this pack, followed by Skimmer and, Calastri Healer if you have the right synergies. But in a vacuum, I'd say the Skimmer and the Sifter are the best cards in this pack. Yeah, we'll take the Sifter. Okay, Scythe Leopard, not really what I want. He is an early drop, but, I mean, I do have some landfall stuff going on that makes him a little better, but I don't really like him enough. Don't really want another Earthen Arms either. I think a 3rd Plummet sounds fine. We may end up running one of them. Okay, so another Brood Hunter Worm. I guess I'll take an Infuse. I mean, our deck could support it, and it is a pretty good combat trick when it can. We'll take a Seek the Wilds. Not going to play it, but okay. I guess I'll take another Hedron Blade. And here I will take away the best card, which isn't saying much. That pack's obviously near the end and doesn't have that much good in it, away from somebody. All right, so I'm going to try to make Desolation Twin work. We don't have a huge amount of ramp. We have the 2 Blister Pods who can sort of ramp. We probably lose Earthen Arms now, incidentally. We call the Scions and the Beastcaller Savant, but we're trying to sort of have fun here and just mess around with the format. Eyeless Watcher, too, can help us ramp. So that's kind of what my plan is here, is to just sort of shove it into my deck. I'll take away the dude from somebody. Hell, we could play Mindraker. We have one way to exile stuff. It's probably not enough, but yeah, okay. I mean, it's not a bad sideboard card either. We're not in blue at all, but all right. So we ended up, almost completely green with 2 gold cards that are pretty strong, and we ended up with a War Caller and 2 Beastmasters. I would have loved a Brood Monitor, but either someone else is in green or none were opened, which either one is possible. Okay, so this puts us at 20 cards, so we can do some stuff here. I think putting in 1 Plummet is probably fine. There are enough flyers in the format. Most decks have one. And another Brood Hunter Worm is also fine because it does make our unnatural aggression a little better. And then I think we run 18 lands. I mean, we've got Desolation Twin. We do have ways to ramp, but I think we want to hit land drops consistently. We have several landfall creatures as well. So, yeah. Where'd our lands go? So we probably play the Gorge. It is like pseudo removal, the Woodland and the Thicket. And then let's see what it thinks we should do. It's probably not going to tell us to play it. Yeah, we probably don't need to run 13 green sources. I think we can probably lower it to 10, especially when we've got Fertile Thicket. And then up both of these. And then I guess we could go to 11. I guess I'd like the black a little more because Catacomb Sifter is way better when you can play it early. And the Grove Rumbler is good. I mean, they're both good when you play them early, I guess. So that's kind of the conundrum here. Yeah. I mean, I think that's right. I think I'm happier with that. We also have like the fixing from Blighted Woodland, Fertile Thicket is pseudo fixing, and then we have our ally guy, Beastcaller Savant. So I think that is our deck. Our Stipulation deck ended up basically mono green. Every card in our deck is actually at least partially green, except for Desolation Twin. So if I manage to cast Desolation Twin just once, I'm going to be pretty happy about it. So, all right, that is the draft, the last Stipulation draft, the last triple battle for Zendikar draft I'll be doing at all on this channel until it's a flashback draft someday. So hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the matches. We'll see if we can maybe surprise some people and do better than a Stipulation draft deck should. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.